This video is intended to describe a lightblade wand named Sahu. Sahu means transcendence in another tongue, as well as it's the name of a company of a dear friend and colleague of mine named Jim, who I refer to fondly as Sahu Jim. That's a whole story to get into, which will be part of the video, about this amazing bestowal of oil that is obtainable in this timeline, which is a whole crazy sub-story to get into by itself. But to keep things relevant, which I eventually probably will circle back to these concepts, is the description of a blade, light blade that is, of exotic variety named Sahu. So okay, as a quick preface, of course, the aspect of the Sahu oil is a true amazing story of essentially oil being distilled in Luxor, Egypt to this day, from a lineage of Egyptian medicine people that have been producing this oil for perhaps millennia. I won't go too far into that whole story, but the truth be told is that this oil is truly amazing and magical and fantastic. So in honor of this amazing endeavor my friend is upon with his oil bestowal and being a steward of this amazing oil, was making a lightblade wand to assist in this endeavor as best as possible. Quite simply, which will become more evident as the descriptions come through of its intensive purpose. Okay, enough digression about that, which I will circle back to because it's a really amazing story, hence the name of the blade is literally represented right here. Anyhow, I will start off with the primary blade banding scaffolding, if you would, and I'll start with the transmutation section as a preface for the entirety of the future mentioned frequencies in this device to have a foundational grounded structure. So down here is the tried and true transmutation platform. So bear in mind that this exact sequence is also represented on both sides of the handle underneath this lovely lapis blue leather, which circulates here, then redirects lateral band like so, then reconnects like so, making a figure 8 with the primary blade band, which I'll get into after the transmutation sequence to basically describe the entire vibratory structure governing the projection of circulated energy. So this right here is a lovely hematite, iron-based stone, fantastic for grounding all excess energies through the root chakra, into the earth stars, and into Mother Earth for reprocessing. In tandem with smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is a lovely purifier of negativity as well and transmuter, due to the fact that it takes all excess energies and grounds it through the root into the earth stars, and once again into the earth matrix for reprocessing. So those two work lovely in tandem for the ignition sequence of a purification grounding aspect, which circulates, like I mentioned, over here, closing this part of the circuitry of the light blade. So, as another preface too, is that it's also a contingency to ground all the excess energy of all frequencies mentioned here to, most importantly, give the frequency pitch a ground point into Mother Earth to tangibilize such a exotic closed-loop circuit generator that Sahu is. And I'll start off with the primary blade banding up here, consisting of clear quartz on both sides to be a neutral projector, so to speak, to carry the current very evenly into the lovely golden healer quartz. Golden healer quartz is an amazing gold white light, Christ frequency, high heart stimulation to source energy. So it makes a perfect subcapacitation energy for the ignition sequence of lapis to go in sequence like so. Lapis should not need much introduction, being a premier stone of ancient Egypt and a favorite of millions over thousands of years for a good reason of being a stone of royalty and truth and of old ways of magic. So lapis is a lovely wind elemental 5th and 6th chakra stimulant that is an amazing aspect for stimulating one's highest truth in connection to their soul archive, aka past lives, latent psychic capacities. Lapis has been a fan favorite, like I said, for millions, for thousands of years for a very good reason. And a stone of one's highest truth. And fantastic for insights of all kinds. So, of course, lapis is highly associated with the ancient Egyptian mystery school ways of old magic. Hence, this entire construct, you can think of it also as an ode to the ancient ways of the Egyptian Mystery Magic School, which he literally is invested in with the most authentic oil from that timeline we can get our hands on as humans in the 2020s. So, igniting like so with Christ light frequency energy, subcapacitated by lapis lazuli, brings a very powerful higher 5th chakra induction with the subcapacitation of the Christ gold white high heart connection to source frequency as just the primary blade band focus. Now, that completes a circuit like a figure 8 going like so, then recirculating up here, and that is perpetual energy momentum. So, with that being said, I'll get straight into the main engine section. This will take a while to cover because it's quite diverse in its frequency pitch ranges in sequence. But at the very apex right here is a tiger's eye shaped like a Merkaba. The Merkaba was also a part of lesser-known Egyptian mystery school aspects of being the mapped-out star tetratheron of the fully activated morphic field of the human avatar of Mother Earth and Father Sky being the Merkaba. So having the Merkaba right here in the tiger's eye format, tiger's eye is a lovely stimulant to the lower 3 chakras of the base, sacrum, and solar plexus. Yet it makes a very dramatic alignment of the lower 3 to have a stabilized, harmonious interaction with physical world. Then next to that guy right here is the lovely smoky celestial quartz. Smoky celestial quartz, just like smoky quartz seen right here, is a very powerful grounder of negativity into positivity. Yet the celestial structure is a very powerful auto-reactive frequency buffer that basically keeps the optimum pitch of the idyllic template constantly grounded and buffered for the right amount of frequency based on situational needs. So a lovely stone, and dare say a primary secondary engine that is very effective for this entire frequency closed loop circuit. This will be discussed over the next probably hour. And next to that is the lovely infinitite. Infinitite is a very lovely angelic variety of serpentine that comes from South Africa. It's relatively rare these days. And is a very powerful Kundalini stimulant that decrystallizes any impediments in the light body activation. So it's a very, very, very good frequency for full light body healing, quite simply. On the other side right here is a lovely ruby and zoisite, another stone that comes from South Africa. Ruby, of course, is the premier red ray stimulant root chakra activator in the mineral kingdom, hence the stone of antiquity and notoriety, as well as being a precious stone. For a very good reason, very much the idyllic base chakra. Then combine that with zoisite. Zoisite's a lovely heart-mind coherence engager. So we have the trifecta of the heart-mind coherence engaged with the zest for life. That is the grounds for truly dramatic, positive, tangible life shifts into one's highest etheric blueprint. Then going into labradorite right here, a great stone of magic and mystery, and is very powerful for latent psychic capacities as well as any kind of psychic gifts that can be stimulated from latent capacity into active capacity. Labradorite is just simply a great stone for magic and very protective frequency for the entire auric field. Then, going into this guy right here, this is prophecy stone found in Egypt area, same place they found Libyan gold tektite, which is a very prominent stone of ancient Egyptian mystery school utilization for the pharaoh caste particularly, which is relevant, I'll get into right now. So this stone, called prophecy stone, found right here, is actually found in the exact same locality as this guy right here, the Libyan gold tektite. And the reason it has the name prophecy stone is that the man who discovered this, he picked a specimen up in the middle of the desert. I think he was pretty sure looking for this stuff right here. Then he had a full-blown prophetic vision that was very overwhelming. So since he was the rock hound that found it, he coined the name of the stone prophecy stone, which may be the mother-bearing stone of this guy right here, but they can't quite scientifically prove that. Basically, the jury's still out. But I have my suspicions based on its high-frequency resonance of being a metal-bearing, kind of like a nickel-iron meteorite impacting sand, vaporizing, producing this as a solid hypothesis. because they both have a similar intensive high frequency disposition, which they feel related, and hey, they're from the same spot, so that's 2 and 2 together. And then right here is the lovely black tektite. Black tektite is an amazing product of nickel iron meteorite impacting sand, catching that cosmic jolt of extraterrestrial energy into the earth plane, crystallized from great amounts of heat and pressure. Black tektite is an amazing stimulant to the base chakra, the earth stars, and all the way up through the entire light body activation. So a very strong, stabilized, full, high frequency razor. Then I'll get into this section right here because it is quite critical. This would be the jasper and agate section, and this is quite important to describe. With such a complex vibratory ignition sequence, having the stabilization of the 4 elements is very conducive to long-term longevity and stability on the path of life, which is of course a big prerogative of this device. To particularly fortify my good friend's holy endeavors with this amazing oil that he is in custody of. This right here is red jasper. Red jasper is an earth elemental base chakra stabilizer and was utilized in ancient Egypt to actually tie to the wrists of newborns to further anchor their astral bodies from the transition into our incarnation to stabilize them for strength. So this actually has strong ancient Egyptian practical utilization. And, like I mentioned, will work great in tandem with these other stabilizers. So that'd be the root chakra stabilized. Then going into fire agate. Fire agate dramatically stabilizes the base, sacrum, and solar plexus. Then going into moss green agate, water elemental energy, stabilizes the heart chakra. Then blue lace agate stabilizes the 5th chakra. It's a water elemental stone as well. Then going into the rare and lovely holly blue agate, even though it's technically purple, that's just trade name. It stabilizes the 6th, 7th chakras of wind. So thereby containing the earth, fire, water, and wind in the most stabilized varieties I can get my hands on is a surefire way to also ensure the stabilized diffusion of this entire complex energy pattern to stabilize through the entire energy centers as even as possible, and to mitigate any kind of growing pain discomforts of such a high frequency induction. Then next to that right here is actually calcite tumbled by Mother Ocean from the Oregon coast. For thousands of years, this calcite has been tumbled by the ocean, so obviously the imprintation of clearing capacity of the ocean has completely shaped this stone. So calcite by itself is a lovely electromagnetic spectrum 7-ray diffuser of clearing the entire pattern from top to bottom, since it's white ray diffuse, and is a lovely clear, not to mention, like I've mentioned, this is a stone that was literally polished by the ocean for thousands of years, so it's kind of hard to shake that kind of dramatic imprintation in the structure of the energy. That's how I harvested myself when I had the privilege of being at the Oregon coast earlier this year. Then over here is the lovely Mount Shasta serpentine from my backyard. Shasta serpentine, of course, is an amazing full Kundalini activator and cellular respirator, as well as a nice light body stimulant in its right as well, and not to mention comes from the legendary Mount Shasta. Then, to really pick things up pretty intensely, is a relatively large piece of white fulgurite from the back of the primary core all the way to the clear quartz main engine. And of course, that's clear quartz to be the main programmable heart of the entirety of this device. Then to have the powerful fulgurite, this is the product of lightning striking sand, so it holds the energy of lightning very intensely in its entire structure. Since it was literally vaporized by the power of lightning, it carries the energy of lightning. Lightning is a dramatic intensifier of the entire light body stimulation from top to bottom, as well as in First Nation utilization by the shamans of medicine women and medicine men. It was a dramatic utilization of intensification of one's prayers to spirit or source. So this was a very well utilized First Nation shamanic tool right here. So naturally, having a wire wrapped into a closed loop circuit into the back of the main engine gives it a massive boost through the entire system. So as a preface, that's pretty evident by now, is that every single frequency discussed thus far is all grounded to one single primary wire, making one continuity throughout the entire device. So you can think of all these different frequencies mentioned thus far in a very well-maintained circuit that, of course, they all ping off each other as it completes its entire vibratory circuit. I digress. As per usual when these big babies roll out. Okay. Then I'll get straight into this lateral band right here. So this right here would be the lovely prehnite. Prehnite is an amazing 3rd and 4th chakra clearer and stimulant of both water and earth frequencies. So it's a very, very fantastic clearer of pre-existing emotional blocks of any kind, hence working in tandem with clear quartz to run a neutral acceleration into the lovely, famous, and thank God, very common rose quartz. Rose quartz is an impeccable frequency of the love, receptive, high heart, pink, divine love. So having the purification of any kind of love blockages in sequence with this lateral band at the very end, will be a very powerful way to also have the energy run through this part to really make a very loving vibration. And also, prehnite works as a fantastic broadcast, as well as being an impeccable Raphael the Archangel analog frequency alignment. So that's a lot of love and healing in summary with this closed loop circuit running like so. All the way around here. Then going into the lovely Iceland spar clear calcite. It's just like mentioned with the oceanic calcite mentioned over here, is that it's a clear calcite, which means its stimulation and clearing of the entire chakra field is well diffused through all the chakras simultaneously. So it's a lovely stone for a fresh start in clearing any patterns of stagnancy of any kind. Since it's a fire elemental stone, it also, in a clear, full light body spectrum, clears any stagnations from top to bottom for a full, free-flowing energy field. Then down here is the lovely, legendary amethyst. Amethyst is a purple ray, lovely stimulant of wind of 6th, 7th, and 8th non-physical chakras back to the Godhead, and a fantastic stone for divine purification. Then over here is the amazing Larimar. Larimar is an incredible stone that was discovered in the early 80s in Dominican Republic and being claimed to be a stone of Atlantis predicted by Edgar C. Casey. Now, Larimar is an amazing blue ray stone of extreme soothing capacity to the 5th chakra and to stay in an oasis of calm in one's highest truth. Like a very much a soothing frequency that's very nice for the 5th chakra of one's truth to be aligned with one's truth. Then to terminate that to the lovely Sedona red rock, this is a specimen from Sedona, particularly from a section of Sedona between Bell Rock and Court Mesa, my favorite vortice of the entire area. That's where this guy came from. And that iron is what makes this red, and is a very powerful grounder of energy as well. So that's a very nice little dose of that. Then going into carnelian. Carnelian is another legendary stone of ancient Egypt that was primarily used to honor the aspect of Horus or Ra, which was easily available to the area of being a sunstone. Carnelian stimulates the base, sacrum, and solar plexus as well. So it's a lovely stone. It was kind of the yang to the yin of lapis lazuli in utilization of ancient Egypt. So having a nice specimen, which when they're kind of more red like this, they're technically called gem grade blood of Isis. So that's actually technically a blood of Isis stone. It's kind of a shame this will be covered with white hood because it won't be displayed, but it's there. Then to further transition into the further masculine solar energies of beneficence would be sunstone. Sunstone is an amazing stimulant to the solar plexus and sacrum chakras, and a very lovely cornucopia of blessing frequency is what summarizes this guy, and it's a very lovely enthusiastic generator and a very powerful positive energy and also manifestation abundance augmenter, quite simply. Then going into the lovely chrysoprase. Chrysoprase is an amazing water elemental stone that stimulates the 3rd and 4th chakras and is a very powerful abundance frequency as well, and emotional clearer and healer of the green ray. It's a very nourishing, amazing green ray stone. I believe that would actually finally be the entirety of the engine section at nearly record-breaking pace, I dare say. One guy I did forget back here between the agates I was planning on getting back to is this is star argonite between the red jasper and the moss green agate. Star argonite is a calcium-based full light body stimulant that actually stimulates the entire chakra column in unison. in a very powerful way, yet very gentle and clearing. Since it's calcium-based for the full stimulation, it also expands the entire field. Any kind of impediments of light-body activation two-way connection will be rapidly but smoothly dismantled into the higher self configuration. And that would be the entirety of the engine. Also, as a preface, there's two different cores. The primary core is cedar wood from my backyard, which was highly utilized in that ancient Egyptian time period as well, different modalities of old world technology, as well as using oak from my backyard once again as the secondary core, bolted right here to hold this all together down here, because oak's a very strengthening wood. So that's a very nice foundation down here for have the oak frequency transition into the cedar, which is a more neutral, magically malleable frequency. Anyhow, that's enough digression about that. So like I mentioned, this transmutation blade banding continues up this entire leather section concealed by this lovely lapis leather into this transmutation blade band ratio, then going into the primary blade band of, once again, lapis and golden healer quartz with low clear quartz to be a neutral accelerator to focus the primary blade band. Then we're getting into this section right here of the primary thumb engagement, right there. So that guy is actually designed to be able to place the thumb like so to engage the circuit. And that is the foundation of this thumb engagement is the lovely legendary Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite was actually utilized by the Pharaoh caste and carved into scarab beetles to be actually mounted into their breastplates of their office, being the Magi God Kings. So this was a quintessential stone of royalty at that time period and great magical power. So, of course, having such a homage and honoring of the ancient Egyptian mystery schools set in stone on a closed loop circuit, having a prominent aspect of this particular stone utilized in ancient Egypt for great magical purposes was of the essence. Hence its showcase is so prevalent. So Libyan gold tektite is an amazing fire elemental stimulant of the sacrum and base chakra, as well as the solar plexus, but primarily it's a fire energy, but yet it has storm overtones, which stimulates the entire light body with great golden energy activation through the entire structure. Hence it was the stone of the god kings of old, primarily. Very legendary, amazing stone. And great for manifestation, intensification, and also is a dharmic accelerant to put one's configuration into alignment to their highest divine path manifest in the earth. And to further intensify and augment that concept with another dharmic accelerant would be moldavite. Moldavite is a legendary green ray stone that fell from the heavens in Czechoslovakia, Mulatto Plateau, Czechoslovakia, and is quite the stone of notoriety in this time frame, being a very powerful green ray cosmic stone of high storm energy. So moldavite's got a bad rap for being a very rapid spiritual accelerator in one's life. And so obviously, as a preface, that all the other frequencies in tandem are meant to mitigate the growing pains that this guy can produce, even in a small dose. Intentionally, actually, so it's not too jarring to the system, because moldavite has a way of really resetting one's heart to the highest source configuration in such a quick way that it can dismantle the false self matrix inside someone, causing great discomfort of the false self being absolved, as well as internally, then externally how it vibrates so quickly. It also, of course, can change one's life so dramatically and can be rather chaotically villainized for its amazing capacity to put one in touch with their direct dharmic alignment and rapidly change one's life to its highest spiritual configuration. So, like I mentioned thrice now, the big idea of all these other relays of this entire frequency in a stabilized, grounded format is to mitigate the growing pains and make those transitions as smooth as absolutely possible to mitigate the timeline whiplash, basically. And so around that Libyan gold tektite, right here, is a power pack that's quite lovely of greenish turquoise, which has a little more iron than copper, hence the more green grounded fifth chakra stabilization. Another stone of great utilization in ancient Egypt, due to the fact that it's just a very beautiful, powerful fifth chakra stone that combines the aspects of earth, fire, water, and wind through the focus of the highest truth. So very much a stone of wholeness and truth of who one is. Then to subcapacitate that with clear quartz into whitish blue hemimorphite. Hemimorphite is an amazing stimulant to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras and a great heart-mind coherence frequency. A very amazing stone choice for any kind of mediumship, to have the channels be very clear and focused for their guidance of spiritual practice. So it's really an amazing vast stone. So obviously in connection with this turquoise gives a strong focus of the, once again, 5th chakra induction, with the lapis being the primary focus, as well as the leather providing a color therapy resonance to be a very obvious 5th chakra stimulant, like seen like so. And a lovely lapis blue color, by the way, fantastic. Of course, matches very nicely with that guy. So that would be the thumb engagement. Now I'll get straight into the blade face. So nothing's quite as Egyptian as a pyramid, I would say. So having the representation of rose quartz, like discussed down here, in a pyramidal format on both sides, is a great way to also give a lateral focus of the energy of this entire construct in a closed-loop circuit, with the side energy focusing the love frequency laterally both ways, seen like so. So that's a very nice homage to Egypt once again, is the great power structures that were once fully operational superconductors. That's a little representation of that truth right here, but most importantly through the love filter, which is just really nice, obviously. Then transitioning into the lovely seraphinite. Seraphinite is an amazing full light body stimulant named after the seraphim archangels. So obviously its green ray heart chakra connotation is very obvious, but it's also a very powerful stimulant to the entire light body as a whole, rapidly dismantling patterns of dis-ease mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Hence, it's one of my top 5 favorite stones in the world, and I utilize this in metaphysical applications very extensively due to its sheer effectivity based on R&D and personal life experience of this amazing frequency being my life. So by having that frequency of the full healing emotional spectrum, physical, spiritual, mental healing to the highest capacity is a great soothing aspect also. It also provides great emotional elasticity to the higher emotional configuration to connection to creation. As a fantastic cellular respirator and great healer of any kind of dysfunctional patterns, compromising the physical health of ideal configuration. In summary. Then, this part's very special. So, my dear friend Jim actually has minted a certain sigil sticker seen right here that he utilizes for his oils with the ankh and a great amount of floral designs around it to really honor the aspect of these amazing cold-pressed oils from Luxor, Egypt that are made by a family of wizards. Crazy but true story. Hence the fun fact of all this is where this gets really rewarding right here, is that I've had other stickers of this oil, obviously, so what I did was I pulled off two of these stickers from 2 bottles that I've acquired from Jim. Then I re-adhered it to the cedarwood core, which can be seen like so right here, with a stone called rutilated quartz on top of it to basically hold it into place. So the big idea right there is taking literally the magical sigil that's been developed for this endeavor, then putting it directly into the core of this device with an exaggeration of a very high yield rutilated quartz on top of it being a super accelerator of the energy concept. So this is where it gets pretty meta, obviously. So clear quartz with rutile in it is clear quartz by itself is a very powerful amplifier of energy. Then having rutilated quartz within the structure, titanium dioxide, makes a very sizzling supercharger version of that. So the big idea too with this is that taking the sticker and then mounting it under a super exaggerated intensification energy broadcast is also intended to really dramatically intensify and align with the energy of the archetype of Sahu, which is a very amazing fun. Oh, that's a much better side to show in the video. So yes, it's taking that entire Sahu sticker and putting it through a super exaggerated intensification focus, which of course, like mentioned, all the frequencies thus far are now, of course, associated with that archetypal sigil. or magic symbol that has been developed for this oil line. So, that was already a lot to basically try to consolidate into coherence. But yes, quite simply, the best attempt possible to really super exaggerate the sticker that's been in wide distribution, thank goodness for all the recipients of this oil, is to super intensify and accelerate the entire concept of the highest divine truth of Sahu into tangibility is one of the prefaces and goals of this entire device. So, once again, rutilated quartz to make a super accelerated vibration right on top of the exaggeration of the stickers literally being utilized as we speak in wide distribution for these amazing magical oils without peer. As far as I'm concerned, to be pragmatic and candid, and if I had to make an assessment, this is the case. So, then focusing the energy of these rutilated quartz in both sides straight into scoicite. Scoicite is an amazing white ray stone of divinity that strongly and smoothly stimulates the 6th and 7th chakras and very much the higher divine mind state, which is very complementary to the high truth induction that lapis lazuli produces through the primary blade band, and also bring a very soothing, calming frequency of divine peace throughout the entire structure. Then at the very apex of this device, the very end right here, is the lovely charoite on both sides right here. Charoite is an amazing purple ray stone that is a very powerful stimulant to the 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical soul star chakra. Then also, charoite has inclusions of dendritic, which is black stuff found right there, which makes a strong grounding point through the energy system. So this is another dharmic accelerant that can dramatically ground one's highest spiritual path into tangibility right through their system into the earth to make it real, which is the whole point of this device, is actually for tangible gains. That hence the transmutation blade band right here is well warranted to ground all this energy and purify anything that's not of the highest resonance for the recipient of this device, that being my dear colleague and friend Sahu Jim, to ground his endeavors and bless him hopefully 1,000-fold or minimum. That's the big endeavor right there. This, of course, was a labor of love for a dear friend of mine who is doing great work with what God's given him. So this is the best answer possible to augment his quest, as a little side note tangent. Then, at the very tip right here is the lovely Tibetan black quartz. Tibetan black quartz comes from Tibet and is an amazing stimulant to the entire light body column, as well as a strong extreme grounder of energy into the earth. Then a very powerful dramatic expansion of consciousness simultaneously. So you can think of the typical motto of as so above, as so below, being well exaggerated and represented here in this frequency of a dramatic expansion of higher consciousness, yet a very dramatic grounding of that conscious two-way frequency, full light body activation, and a very powerful Om resonance in its own right, which of course works lovely in tandem with the primary focus of the golden healer quartz in such a heavy concentration to put really that Om source energy, central sun of creation frequency in direct resonant patch with the conscious self. That was quite the mouthful in itself. Okay, so I saved this part intentionally for last as a summary for the entire vibratory structure of this device, but these guys right here are selenite. So selenite is an amazing purifier of the energy body by itself, and a fantastic stimulant to the 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras all the way back to the Godhead or the higher self configuration, basically a key to the conscious self unlocking their higher self potentiality and their soul wisdom, essentially. But where it really shines in a spirit tool with all aforementioned stones thus far is it takes the entire algorithm of the frequency pitch running through this device. It will, first of all, purify the entirety of stones mentioned. It will harmonize the entire stones mentioned. Then it will accelerate them, all stones mentioned, in that trifecta. So when you have that aspect of the purification, the acceleration of all the frequencies, then the harmonization, that makes for a tremendously effective spirit tool based on that trinity. Hence, their utilization is quite critical in any device that passes through my hands into distribution. Okay, Then for the transference of energy into tangibility is the utilization of the 4 spectrums of kyanite easily available to me. Starting off with black kyanite, which makes very rapid grounding energies through the bottom of the auric field, through the root chakra, into the earth stars, into the earth matrix processing. So it makes a very reactive grounding of energy requirements for the recipient of this device. Then the orange kyanite rapidly bridges the energy to the highest capacity of creativity in connection to their source connection. So that's a very powerful sacrum stimulant because it does not basically lose momentum. That's the aspect of kyanites that are amazing too, is that there's such rapid transfers of energy that they do not get stagnant. They always constantly transmit and transfer the energy as required. That's one of the greatest gifts of kyanite in this aspect. As well as kyanite being a very effective bridger and processor and disperser, and most importantly, broadcast alignment of energies is the aspect of kyanite's criticality too. Then green kyanite rapidly bridges one's heart chakra to the highest capacity connection to creation. Then blue kyanite bridges the mental centers of the prefrontal lobes, the highest capacity and connection to creation as well. So when you have those 4 together, making very dynamic, rapid bridges of energy, it's a dramatic way to really change a timeline or a way of being or operating system, if you would, to a higher configuration. And, of course, takes all the excess energy, makes a very transferable broadcast throughout creation. Then to focalize and accelerate that energy and most importantly condense it into form is the focalizer crystal set seen right here. These guys back here are titanium aura quartz. Titanium aura quartz actually is a man-made stone, pressure-coated, pressure-bonded titanium to a clear quartz structure, yet titanium pressure-coated makes a very dramatic full light body activation from top to bottom. A very strengthening, energizing physically, and spiritually and emotionally frequency. It's a great stone of great enthusiasm, and most importantly, to feel one's sovereign strength is an aspect of this device's goal, and hence these guys are oftentimes always in a lightblade wand for this purpose, to really strengthen the energy field of the wielder in their connection to their divine self in creation. So it makes it very hard for weaker frequencies of any kind of electromagnetic interference to interfere with the recipient's divine connection when engaged in design and by intention to keep one in their truth, to stay strong on their path, essentially. Then right here is just a lovely clear, neutral clear quartz points. The big idea there too, of course, is that it takes the entirety of this frequency mentioned as figure 8 and gives it a strong directional focus. So this would be the tip of the spear, if you would, of taking the excess energy and give it a very strong consolidated focus of the energy. So that surprisingly actually would be the entire crystalline composition. That went a lot faster than I expected. Okay, so I'll move on to some auxiliary things. So this right here is a very rudimentary example of the intention of having a white leather hood over this entire engine section. Once this video is concluded, all is said and done, a white leather hood will be cut and installed to proper size to conceal the entirety of the engine for a very good purpose. So the aspect also is it's a subtle insulation and also condenser of energy to contain the energy through the circuit. So it's not basically stray energy coming off here, even though people love looking at the stones, but this actually is indefinitely functional purpose of the hood is to basically be a condenser and an insulator, so the energy has a stronger focus and it doesn't like basically lose excess overture of energy, like energy leaks, if you would, like a circuit. Then aspect that's very important too is that this guy, since it'll be a white leather, will be the fusion of the 7 rays. So all the critical programmable components, such as the clear quartz main heart right here seen, will also be governed by the 7 rays of the white light diffusing through the entire circuit. So that's an aspect that's rather important too, is the color therapy induction of the white hood right here, really governing the energy at the circuit of the main heart engine section, if you would, to really actually give a strong full light spectrum diffused or full encompassing all colors of light in the 7 rays of white. Then on top of the hood will also be this lovely ankh will be installed, much like so. Luckily I was able to find an ankh that has a relatively floral appearance, very much in honor of my dear friend's sticker. So that was a very fortuitous find that will be applied after this video is concluded. Then on the other side of the hood will be the installation of this lovely golden scarab beetle, a great symbol of rebirth and resurrection and regeneration in ancient Egypt. So obviously, these two in tandem on both sides will be the quintessential magical badging of ancient Egyptians' heyday of magic, represented in this device, once again, an ode to the ancient ways of magic and profound spiritual renaissance that was once normal life for these amazing dynasty and this empire of Egypt. So, that would be the basic summary of this entire device. So, and even further, like boiling it down, the whole concept is that it takes the entire frequency pitch of the highest truth of lapis to be a very strong stimulation to put my friend in touch with his divinity. So his service to creation is very, very blessed, and that he has a very fortuitous aspect with Sahu in all ways, which means transcendence once again. So that would be the conclusion of Sahu, and to be a very powerful full light body stimulator, stabilizer, and hit every octave possible through the entire chakra column engagement, and to be a very, very lovely energy wand to assist him on his holy quest with his amazing endeavor of Sahu oils, which is really a legendary story unto itself. That's truly the things of magical legend, and it's a great honor to be affiliated with such a magical initiative that my friend is undertaking. So, in a long story short, to get a little candid, a little more intimate, I guess, at the end of this public video, is that this is the best homage of honoring the path and setting him up as best as I can with what God has given me. If I had to get egoic about it, be divisiatory, and have a judgmental perspective, is this device has been developed for the highest intention for his holy endeavors to really assist him on his holy nightly quest. And this was the best answer possible that passed through my hands before it goes in distribution. Anyhow, that's enough of a tangent at the end there. 1,000 blessings, and I pray that everybody has a wonderful day, and may the force be with us all.